G'day viewers and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Hidden City Roller Derby. I'm your host Simkov. How's it going?
Well, I don't know why I'm listening tonight. I got a feeling that the cards just ain't right. I'm so salty, must not give in to rage. And I'm wondering what those rollers will say. Scrubs to the left of me, cheaters to the right. Here I am, gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight.
I think we're growing, man.
No, we got a few people
We got
listening.
another review.
Yeah. So we're live from Kyuden Floyd once more. Studios here in an undisclosed location in Victoria, Australia. Hosted by the wonderful Merlin. How are you?
Doing all right.
No worries. We've got Glenn.
Hello, here you go.
Sound off, repeat, return, consecutive episodes, JK.
Hey Matt, how you going? Good to be back.
Was that a mate to the collective roller,
Mates.
or was that to mates?
Yes. Sorry.
I think mate's plural in Australia, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and returner and founding roller, Mr. Bert Toreadori, aka the guy who is not bad.
Dude, I'm just so glad that I could be here this time, and I kind of forced this together in a way because I was butthurt that I missed last week. So I'm glad.
We are taking a short break from our hardcore World Cup training regime. Well, not World Cup, sorry. We totally crashed out of that.
Yeah, the
What World Cup, dude?
It's just a bad night, 0-3 nightmare.
Oh, really? 0-3?
Oh, we got pantsed.
That is brutal.
We got absolutely pantsed. No, the Worlds in the wonderful Roseville coming up at time of recording about 4 weeks.
Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Just California, Philly, Minnesota.
No, yeah, Roseville is the name of the suburb that's famous for having the first target in all of America.
Wow.
Hey, how long did you spend on the wiki page for the place to go, bro?
So some of us were building decks, and Ben decided that he just wanted to have some fun facts to share.
Now look,
It's nothing to throw your opponent off more than just throwing a fun fact at them.
You should do that in the middle of a game. Like when you're at World, just look at your opponent in the eye and say, hey, did you know that this town is the first town that had a target in America?
I feel like I already knew that. Like somebody's already given me that fact already.
the RDB, the Roseville database.
It's like is the only fact about Roseville?
RDB.
Man, this is so intimate. It reminds me of one of the first casts we did where we casted a game on Twitch.
Oh yeah,
It was cool.
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
All just sitting around the lounge,
Pounding the
chairs.
sake and
That was for CanCon, wasn't it? Oh no,
that was like round
Oz Discord.
season 1 of the Australian Discord League. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Putting you on the spot here. What's been going on? Oz Discord.
I've just been a little lazy.
You work on that novel. Got some characters.
On the Dota. Dota
Yeah,
novel.
you guys have seen my Discord. You know what I've been doing.
A little something, and maybe something.
It's the Hidden City Rollers.
I've been exceptionally busy with all the things I do.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think tonight I was just discussing with you guys. I want to do something where we take back some of the world's prizes and offer it up for the next season, which I'll probably be announced. I think we should announce the next couple of days and get it kicked off before we leave.
Just announce it now, right now.
All right, sign up. Sign up will be linked in this podcast.
Oh,
There you
he's
go.
on. Okay, and what's special about this one? It's the lead up to Worlds. There's going to be some world prizes.
Did we actually do the Australian Werewolf in Paris thing?
That's still on. It's been iced because the World Cup furor kind of took over a bit, and then. The French guys were just like, everyone's busy with school holidays because a lot of them are dads apparently. So I don't know. Yeah, I will try and get that sorted out because I really do want to finish that off. That'd be great.
Get some Gru Clan games in.
So many gurus.
Many Grus. So I think it's been a week now since the new first turn rules have been in play and Hawk Tat seems to have disappeared from the meta.
R.I.P. Hawk Plume.
I think
it's still a good card.
It's still not legal until, I think, October 9th is the actual official.
I know, but
Well, on Jagoku, I think I've still been getting the passing fades.
Shout out to Jadiel.
But I think, I guess most people have been playing with the culture of that. Most people seem to play with the erratas in place.
Is that right? So if we go to this tournament tomorrow in Melbourne, we can play busted
you
Hawk Tattoo?
you can say sorry, it's not official until
Dude.
the 10th. Yeah.
I'm playing Dragon. Really want them promos, you know?
Do we feel like now, having played for a week, the Dragon has suffered at all, or does it feel like it's still not a bad deck to play?
It just gave him room to play better cards than Hawk Tattoo. They can just switch that out for that extra Finger of Jade or.
I'm not sure
Indomitable
Dragon has been hurt at all.
Yeah.
But in general, the game has less feel bad moments, so it was good.
Yeah.
Like some rando Crane Hawk tattooing you and it costing you a turn doesn't really
The
happen
card didn't
anymore.
feel very skillful, right? Like someone just pulls in your big unit for one and wastes your conflict. That's not a skillful move. It's not like setting up a combo or anything.
It generally wasted your turn, so
Yeah.
it just felt bad. So anything that makes the game feel less bad is good.
yeah.
Pretty solid math there.
I think it hasn't hurt Dragon at all, but it has made the game feel fairer. I don't know if it actually is fairer, but yeah.
It's still kind of also at least made people question whether Let Go was the correct splash card.
The answer is yes.
Yes. But at least you had that little question mark over it rather than just instant, Let Go Hawk Tattoo, and then you just roll a dice if you want 3 or 2.
Yeah, it felt kind of like Corset when Fury Let Go was just too good to pass up for most clans, and it was just a no-brainer. And anytime a decision's a no-brainer, it's a bad part of the game, I think. So going second was a no-brainer, and now it's not, and people are experimenting with different strategies for different matchups and stuff. So that's great for the game, and I've been enjoying it a lot more. I still generally prefer to go second because I like to counterpunch on that first turn, but
Yeah,
How
I think
have you been
going
finding it?
second's still best. Yeah.
But I feel like
I'm not convinced. I'm jury is still out from my perspective, but I'm thinking like as a long-time Scorpion player, if I'm playing traditional Scorpion, I feel like I don't really have a chance against Dragon. It's still a pretty tough matchup, but I actually feel like what's really important with Scorpion is getting the passing fate. So how do I get the passing fate? I go first. So like,
yeah, it's reasonable
which
consideration.
is, So
And we should take this guy's word as gospel because he just honoured me out with a Phoenix old box Seeker of Air playing Deceptive Offers. So I think,
Damn straight.
yeah, 25.
First time I played that deck. No, it's
awesome.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm just enjoying mucking around with a bunch of different decks, trying to narrow down the options for Worlds because I mean, it's interesting because we don't actually know what the meta is going to be because the last few cards that got leaked, they didn't get spoiled. They got leaked at time of press about a day ago from when we were recording this. We only just know now, 4 weeks out, what the operating environment is going to be for Worlds.
There's still a question about restricted list, right? Because Thrones
Still up
just
in the
had Thrones just had a new restricted list drop like 2 days ago.
But was that as part of a rules reference guide update?
I have no
it
idea.
was separate. It was just an announcement. It was like a news article just specifically for a change to the restricted list for Thrones.
So potentially there could be an update to restricted list for Legend before Worlds, right? In theory,
you'd like to feel that after each cycle, and after they've seen the meta settle per cycle, that they reflect on it.
Yeah, they would review
and
it.
then review it rather than wait. You want to do it before Worlds
before the
rather than
premier
after.
event in the calendar.
Well, it's interesting. Like, do you want to do it now? And there's basically a frenzy of testing for 4 weeks, or if they do it
4 weeks.
less than 4 weeks. So say they do it in a week, right? Like next week they do it, right? Once the Scorpion Clan pack's actually out, because presumably it comes out next week. Then you've got 3 weeks under a completely new environment. It does make Worlds super exciting because you've got like all this new stuff.
But it also makes it more balanced, right? The restricted list is an acknowledgement of some cards being beyond curve. So would you rather play in a 3-week tested environment or in an environment where cards that are acknowledged as busted or off curve are still in the game?
Yeah, there would be nothing worse than like a week after Worlds they announce a new restricted list.
Yeah,
And
that's
you're just
true.
like, well, the
That's
World
true.
Championship's a paper championship. It happened to me in San Francisco where it was the final Kotai played with before there was a restricted list at all. And I was lucky because we had the Melbourne one a week later, so I got to play in the new meta as well. But it did feel a little weird at the Kotai. I asked people how they felt about it, and they're like, yeah, it's a little odd playing in like an old format, essentially.
We can acknowledge the worst form of communication would be to announce the restricted list a week before Worlds and it not be active at Worlds. So knowing the restricted list and going, well, we're playing in this old environment for Worlds.
It also then doesn't address any issues with cards that are in the Scorpion pack either.
That's fine.
For reference, Netrunner did a restricted. They only first ever restricted list for the game about I think a month and a bit before Worlds last year. So everyone was really excited because the game had been pretty busted for about a year because the MWL basically they tried to adjust influences first before actually having a restricted list. And it just didn't work. People were happy to pay the influence cost to still get the most busted cards, but that made the meta really exciting at Worlds. You saw a huge diversity of clans and decks. I think it's also exciting if you do have a restricted list going into Worlds that people surprise you with their plays.
Yeah,
like your Phoenix Scorpion Honor deck can just have that surprise factor, which is what you want in the Swiss rounds. The top cut's a bit different because everyone gets to see what your list is, but I don't know.
But we're not even sure if that's a rule.
Yeah, we're not sure if that's going to happen again. It did happen last year, though, at Worlds, right?
Yeah. So that's actually the thing that stops me from finalizing my deck, right? Because I need to know if I need those Assassinates or Censures in there.
As a 1x.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, so forgive me, is it that Cascade had been forcing it, even though FFG had never said at
it's never in any of their official materials except at
Except
Worlds.
for Worlds.
Yeah.
Was there a Worlds rules document last year? I
don't know. I didn't go. So
how did people know before they showed up? Did they?
Yeah,
know?
I don't actually know. Now that you answered the question, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
So, on some other tangential news is we do have a new national champion sitting at our table, just not for this game. We did have a...
I believe he's a five-time
national champion for Vampire the Eternal Struggle. So 3 of us at this table, Bertie, Jay and myself, went and played the Vampire, which is a multiplayer game. Richard Garfield, creator of Keyforge, created a couple of other card games that are okay as well, but mostly Keyforge.
One of them. Yeah.
Mostly Keyforge, yeah.
Mostly Keyforge.
But, you know, I was reflecting on that tournament, interesting tournament. I won't go too much into detail, but reason I bring it up is because we often complain here in L5R that our timeout rules are tough. And, you know, and it's true, like our timeout rules aren't perfect and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on it, but like it's not simple. Vitez has been going for 20 years or something?
Since 1994.
24.
Yeah, Jesus.
94.
24 years.
24 years.
Wow. And it's had a 2-hour time limit at a tournament level for most of that time. Not all of that time, but certainly most of that time. And the way they handle timeouts is very different. And we had a situation on the weekend there where like Vitez, you've got 5 victory points that are potentially claimable. And as the winner of that tournament, how many did you claim at the table
on
there?
The finals table.
The finals table. 5 players on the finals table.
0.5.
And that got you there.
Got me on the line. So the finals table timed out without anyone claiming a scalp, which basically meant that we went to count back on to Swiss to decide who the national champion was, and I was top seed. So
it's like winning the grand
by
final after
default.
the siren.
Yeah.
But,
to a controversial goal.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword, though, because on one hand, you've got... like as it means that the rounds count. So it's like Swiss rounds counting, strength of schedule counts. But sometimes you can't control, both within L5R and other card games, you can't really control who your opponents are. You know that in Swiss and L5R, you're going to be, theoretically, if you're winning games, you're going to face tougher opponents. But those first few rounds are extremely variable. So it's a I don't know what we can learn from timeouts from Vitez, if anything.
Well, they're always unfun. They're always a lame. I mean, I won the national championships due to a timeout, and it didn't feel good. Like winning via timeout, winning by default doesn't feel good as a general rule.
Merlin, you played a lot of big events in the like old L5R.
Big by Australian standards.
By Australian standards there, right? Can you remember any finals being decided by timeouts?
Timeouts?
Yeah.
No. Although we did
Old
the whole
format
thing
was
in
best
one
of
day.
3 though, right?
It was best of 3, and you had a sideboard in some of the events, and also it was a lot quicker of a game.
Yeah, it would depend on what season you were playing in. So when I played in the finals that year, it was just a best of 1. It was just
okay.
I like the sudden death. There's more glory to it in a way. I don't know. Like people say, I want best of 3s to reduce variance. Like why not play best of 1,000 then? I like the sudden death.
Yeah, I think you need to strike a balance between what's practical and actually trying to determine the best player. So I think the Swiss rounds get you a set of the best players, and then single elimination I think is the best that you can really ask for, given the practicalities.
And which arc was it where if you were tied at the end of the game, you had a 2-minute discussion, and if you couldn't decide who the winner was, you
quite a
both
bit.
just
I think it
lost?
pretty much the whole
No,
game.
Is that
there was a dice roll, and
Emperor,
I think it was most
definitely
of them.
Right.
I thought it was most of them actually.
think that's
a lot of
great.
them.
Like-
yeah, it was.
You
it
like
was
that?
Really good.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
both just lose.
I feel bad winning and losing on dice rolls.
I only
No,
ever
not,
had
not the dice rollers, and you have a discussion, and if you can't come to some kind of agreement,
Double
then you
loss.
both just lose. Sorry.
Mutual seppuku.
Do you know, I had one double loss.
I don't know how I feel about that.
My opponent would not agree to a dice roll, thought he had me over a barrel, and I was explaining to him, you're allowed to open your hand up as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you could go, hey,
Yeah.
well, I've actually got these cards here. And I was explaining to him that I thought I had a pretty good shot, and in the long run, I thought, but I'm happy to take a dice roll. He said, nah, I got you. And that was actually Conan, which is a rival of Merlin at the table here.
That's
a fellow
your
Phoenix
rival.
nemesis.
Yeah.
And I was playing a Scorpion Dishonor deck, which is very unlike me. Okay, maybe not. And he was playing a Phoenix Honor deck, and they were kind of like they were like balancing each other.
So did you math it out, and you had won mathematically, and he still
No, I
refused
mathed
to-
it out, and I thought it was quite variable. I thought I had a pretty good shot.
Oh, okay.
But there was
So
still a few
there was a question
things.
mark. Yeah,
There was
right.
definitely a question mark. He definitely had a shot. He wasn't out of the game at all. But I thought it was a bit of a, and he wouldn't roll a dice. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm going to put my foot in the sand too. I said, I'm happy to roll a dice, but I'm not conceding.
So did it become a double loss?
Yeah.
Double loss.
I think that's
That's manning up. That's called
And that
manning
was actually the Kote that my friend Brad from Perth ended up winning with Mantis, and he beat Jay
absolutely
in
whomped my zombie deck.
a semi-final. Well,
My
actually, it wasn't
spider
womp-
zombie deck.
Yeah, he didn't womp it. He just It was at a critical point. You both in the old L5R. It was all about building your armies up. And you had that disgusting, it was recursion.
A counters it. It was
You
just
had the Nate
zombie
French,
counters.
but I mean, you're always rallying against recursion in card games, but you loved the recursive nature
But
of that
he's
zombie.
a self-hating power gamer.
Yeah, no. I'll hate myself, but I'll still take advantage of it.
You have to.
Yeah.
If you can win a champ.
Can't.
It's like when
Dragon's
people
too
complain-
far though. I
join
won't
it,
play
right?
Dragon.
People complain about busted cards, but everybody plays busted cards. Nobody
Oh, yeah.
plays cards that are fair. Never. Why would you do that?
Switch out all your fans of katanas for your seal of your clan and prove everyone wrong.
They're not busted cards though. Why am I playing with them?
No, katana and fan, like their power level, most people include at least one or two. So reduce that to +1 with the seal. Make use of the traits, the shinobi trait. The cavalry
Make
trait.
use of that busting
Dragon-
academy.
Dragon-
It'll be
Dragon
a thing,
feels
man.
like-
Seal
feels
of the
like
Scorpion
something.
will be a thing.
Do we think that now that we've got these few extra, including a few extra cards we just saw, that Shinobi are a thing? Let's have a look. I think there was a new Shinobi card. Was there? Bert might have one in front of him.
You want to talk
spoilers.
about new stuff? Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, not spoilers. Leaks.
I mean, they have been
hard leaks.
right.
All right, guys.
there a difference?
Does it count as a leak if they get leaked on the previously official street date that the company announced? 'Cause I'm pretty sure that today was the day that this was supposed to be out.
Yeah, that was
So
yesterday.
thank you to whoever did FFG's job for them.
We won't
But,
say their name because they might get in trouble. They didn't leak to us. They leaked to
No.
the global Discord. So
The Scorpion chat, the cesspool of the L5R Discord.
the most genteel.
Why don't we start with
channels.
this character?
All right.
So this is Bayushi Collector. It's a 2 for a 1/2 courtier with 1 glory, 1 influence conflict character. And it has an action. Choose an attachment attached to a dishonored character. Discard both that attachment and the character's status token. So this thing can discard clouds on your own dishonored guys and remove their dishonored tokens.
Put them back to ordinary. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
And also is another, relatively inexpensive attachment hate card, and it gives you a courtier, which to this point the only conflict courtier for Scorp was Kachiko. What do we think about this? You actually played this, didn't you? Just then.
Did in that
I like
Phoenix
this
Honor
card.
deck.
Fucking hell! I'm gonna never live that game down, man.
You've heard it here first. Phoenix Honor. No.
I think
No.
she's incredible. I mean, attachment hate in Scorpion is a continuing theme. I'm not entirely sure it should be consolidated in the one clan. Maybe they should spread the love a little bit. But yeah, she's amazing in every respect. She's like a calling in favors on crack.
Is she better? Is she better than that Crane character that came out?
Yes, in the current environment, I would say yes, just because of how important attachments are, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. I think playing that out of Phoenix, actually, that's what I was thinking when I saw the card. I'm like, maybe I just go Scorpion Splash.
Well, one of the great things about the card, I love the design of the card, is that it's got one influence value. And as a Scorpion player, I don't want to spread the love too far, but as a player of L5R and wanting a game that's interesting and you know other clans to have options, one influence means that it's not a huge cost for card slot wise, and not a huge cost for card slot wise for other clans. So I think it's good if you're going to introduce attachment hate and it's going to be clan specific, to make the influence cost low whilst attachment hate is scarce. You know, so either make it neutral or make it a clan specific one with low influence cost.
It allows you to play around breach of etiquette as well.
Oh god! Just in case that card was troubling you.
Okay, so I just want to shout out more good card design here, right? So the thing is that it's the 1/2 courtier conflict side. Forget about the ability. The ability is obviously fantastic, right? But if you're playing against some cheeky crane who's playing no attachments or a line that's playing no attachments, it's still a 1/2 courtier in the conflict side, which lets you play forges for shames, drops a character in. Like, it's good by itself. Like, it's fine by itself. The fact that it's got a great ability.
I mean, what is she? She's one cost, right?
Yeah,
Two costs, one glory.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good stat block for cost. Plus, she has some
keyword.
pretty great ability.
I'd kill for this as a blank card in Lion Dynasty, so there you go.
Come on, man. Come on.
I would kill for this, mate.
You know what I think the irony of that card is? Is that the Scorpion Phoenix matchup was really terrible for a long time because all the Phoenix guys got dishonored. So this one, you just play a Scorpion card in Phoenix and then it gets rid of the dishonor for you. Yeah?
I think also something to consider is that if a Shinobi deck does become viable, moving into the new meta, it actually allows them to have courtiers. So you can play your Shinobi from Dynasty side and still be able to play Forged Edicts if you go that route.
Yeah.
You probably would go charge in that deck, but
Do you guys think that we're at a point where you're wanting to be playing basically 10 conflict characters in most decks, or is it approaching that point? Like, they're getting so good that they're better than... Like, this character,
I mean,
if it were
Scorpion,
Dynasty, you'd
definitely.
play it, right?
Yeah.
You'd still play 3 of them if it was a Dynasty character. But it's even better that it's conflict.
Scorpion are really spoiled for choice as far as conflict characters go. Probably more than any other clan,
I think-
would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
the beauty of it is that you can reduce your attachments in Scorp so that you can still have the robust event suite and then have 10 characters that kind of have actions that are better than the attachment. You know, like if you're paying 1 for an attachment, why not just pay 2 for a stat block and a removal of an attachment?
And enabling, like, For Shame and
Yeah.
Forged Edict as well. Yeah, she's incredible.
All right, so we're all pretty hot for teacher on that one. So go to the next card.
Let's do it.
All right, so this one is Stolen Secrets. It's a 1-cost event with 3 influence, Scorpion event. Action, during a political conflict, remove 1 fate from a friendly participating character. Search the top 4 cards of an opponent's conflict deck for a card. Remove it from the game face down and put the other cards back on top in any order. While removed from the game, you may play that card as if it were in your hand.
So super expensive, right?
Huge cost. 1
Huge
fate
cost.
and 1 fate off a participating friendly character in a political
So
conflict.
this is my thought on where this card could be useful. Because in general, I look at that and I go, huge cost, coaster. Like, I think it's best resting underneath my drink.
So is the fate
But-
cost off the character part of the cost of the card?
It's one for
Pre-dash,
the
right?
one for the event.
So it's pre-dash?
and it's pre-dash. Yeah.
So then it can be, like, cancelled?
Yeah, after you've paid the fate cost, right? So in general, it's horrible. However, where I think it would potentially have an application, like always trying to find some way of making these cards usable, right? Is if the environment becomes so degenerative, or you have a deck that is so frightened of one particular card, because you can basically use that card to quarantine something. So I could quarantine a Void Fist and say, because the card goes face down that you take, so you go, you know what? Yes, you're allowed to play it, but just take that Void Fist, put it face down. It It's not in the discard pile. It's not in their hand. So you've actually removed like 2 cards from the game.
Its best use is when there are certain problem cards in a particular matchup. It might be good as a one-off. One thing I was thinking about when looking at this card, it does seem like incredibly high cost, and a lot of the time it's not going to be that useful. But in the mirror, if you go and pull their Forged Edicts away from them, and then get to play a 4th, like swinging the Forged Edict count from 4 to 2, from 3 to 3,
huge.
It's a big swing, right?
That's very
or
big.
like pulling their Fate Worse than Death, or pulling their last catch card of their deck. I think in the mirror it could be good. I don't know if it'll actually see that much play.
It might be
You guys are just like thinking ground level here, guys.
Oh, here we go. It's the Glenn special. The Glenn special. I love it.
First off, you can steal their duty. So you can take their limit 1 per deck card and make it 0 limit per deck, where, that's how balance should be. But more importantly, you can blackmail their character that has a fate, pay the cost, remove the fate, and then get the card.
So it makes blackmail more playable.
And then get this: you take their Spies at Court that's in their deck, and you play it on their character.
Go back and when
You
no
are
fake dishonored,
the
bam.
mad wizard. Just mugs their character completely.
Just all about value.
You can also use Embrace the Void, right, to pull the Fate back that you lose.
Yeah.
See, that makes it a negligible cost, but the beauty of that card is that's still 4 fate you've just played for that blackmail and the card.
It's
It's a fate worse than death, just in a really weird way.
That doesn't send you home or bow you.
It doesn't blink the hit. Well, it does bow them at the end of the conflict.
Right.
So Glenn, I guess what Glenn's saying is, why play Fate Worse than Death in one neat package when you can play it in 5 scattered, fragmented, comborific ways?
Because they'll never expect it.
I see it coming.
That's the point. Actually, my point there would be also that if there becomes cards that let you take control more easily than blackmail,
I agree. Yeah, there you go.
It definitely becomes a card worth considering, because you're paying 1 fate to remove a fate off their character.
So when there's temporary control gaining effects,
or when the mill deck becomes a thing out of Phoenix, where you can run Stolen Breath and not Stolen Breath, Infiltrate, and the Lighthouse and this card, you might be able to mill them by turn 10, which is always.
Hey, Peasant's Advice also helps with the mill.
I think pulling a Pathfinder's Blade from your dragon opponent's deck and then using it to dodge Resto would be pretty hot as well. They're like little things.
Quick temperature. Want to take the temperature here? Peasant's Advice, does that make mill now? Has that reached critical mass? Has it reached critical mass?
I think it's more about...
You guys are fucking delusional.
It's more about, can you mill enough good cards from their deck to make them auto-concede, where they just go like, oh, you've milled all 3 of my Pathfinder's Blade, concede. So for instance, there's a deck in Destiny right now. It doesn't do anything other than it looks at the opponent's hand each turn, but you do it 3 times. So people concede to you.
People.
So you just look at their hand and you spend 2 minutes looking at their hand and then giving it back, and you do it again. And you do it again. You don't do anything else.
Is there a time limit that you can spend looking at someone's hand?
I don't know, Jay. Is there a time limit in L5R to make a decision?
Well, no.
No, yeah.
So you can literally just time the game out looking at people's hands and achieving nothing.
FFG games are very much like, I can spend 10 minutes playing the game and win, and they can spend 50 minutes trying to work out, what does this card do? What decision then? How much? There's always that player in the player group that decides how much fate to go on the character for 5 minutes. And there's that the hangover moment, I think, where the math just swirls through the head, and which is fine. But also, coming back to your time limit discussion earlier about worlds, you really have to build a deck that can win in. Honestly, the reality is 30 minutes. Like, your deck has to be able to spend 30 minutes of time, winning, maybe even 20,
or at least getting to tiebreaker
advantage,
superiority. Yeah.
Because there's going to be some droolers, right? There's going to be some people who are like knuckle draggers taking, and of that hour, they're going to take as close to the hour as of that time off you.
There'll be the deck that you'll fear, which is the monk. It's a monk Phoenix deck that plays Void Fist, and all it does is just push you away from breaking. And it runs Conjo on 1 box, and it runs Waning, and you just slow the game down to a crawl. You could build a prison deck in L5R pretty solidly soon, I think. The only thing that gets around it is Covert.
I'm really worried about coming up
just
against...
like mod wins all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like yeah,
to the middle
you
of
just
the pack.
you just you make no. But if you think about it, you make them expend all their resources, and you just sit there thinking, and then you just void. Yeah, like they do all their stuff, and then you void fist or conjure them home, and every time I've versed a Phoenix and they've got conjure, the game goes for like double the time.
Yeah.
And I'll eventually probably win, but it just takes double the time because you're losing a conflict each. You're losing a character each turn. Which is
So
huge.
so the aim of the deck is just to infuriate people. Just give them brain
Well, hang
cancer
on.
by making them that angry.
So I want to advocate for this actual style of play, right? Like he's talking about this deck, and I'm going, can you actually do that? I reckon you can. I reckon if you can get up on tiebreakers and then delay the game, surely that's a legitimate strategy, right?
You got to win
but
by
you're gonna-
5
you're
to
gonna
guarantee
get-
the
you're
full.
gonna
Yeah,
get-
to
You're going to get
guarantee.
mod wins.
You get
You're going
mod
to get
wins.
6 points. Like big fucking deal. You're
Day
not gonna-
one, it doesn't matter. Day one, you
have to
just
go
need to go
undefeated, though.
4-2, and
it's
that's
not
it.
realistic.
Also, you're going to have 7 guys at the end of day one who are just furious at you. They're going to corner you out the back of the toilets at the end of the day and make sure you're in hospital on day 2.
They're going to find me strangled in a snowdrift somewhere.
It's going to be like Fargo, boys.
What
Aussie
was-
Fargo.
What was the final
Sorry,
card?
the splash card, the restricted card for that deck, by the way, is Momota's Fury. Just if
Oh,
you're
yes, of
wondering.
course, of course.
Just optimal time waste.
All right, so let's go to this final card. It's a 0-cost Scorpion event. Make an opening. 2 influence. Action during a conflict in which you control a participating character. Choose a participating character controlled by your opponent. That character gets minus X mil and minus X pole until the end of the conflict, where X is the difference between the bid on your honor dial and that of your opponent. So it doesn't say that your dial has to be smaller or larger. So
No.
if they bid 5 and you bid 1 that turn,
Yep.
you can give someone -4/-4.
Yep.
So this plays well with like kill effects like Shoujo and Aramoro. Seems kind of janky for now. It's a little hard. The conditions are a bit hard, but it's got cool
Are
art.
you guys getting worried that because they're printing so many cards that have a difference in dial bid, or if it's higher or lower, that it really kind of is promoting Maze of Illusion to the point where I go,
Yeah.
I
That's
go,
my deepest fear.
I go. If I want to play this set of cards,
I have to run Maze.
that's the enabler card.
Yeah.
And
that is
I'm happy about it.
that is
personally.
the single worst card in the game, in my opinion. Like, in terms of design philosophy, it's fundamentally flawed. Like, coin flips are just not fun. By their very definition, they're not fun.
You know what's
Whoever
fun?
designed that
Sawa
card should be-
Tadaka.
it's that there's now, I think we've seen maybe 5 cards from the pack, including maybe it's 5, and then is there 2 from the elemental cycle?
There's Web of Lies.
I Can
Lies.
Swim.
Yeah, and I Can Swim. So there's
Yeah,
2.
Web of
Good
Lies-
Omens. Good Omens, bro.
Yeah.
That's right, that's
Yeah,
a card. And no, not contingency plan.
So if you're wanting to assassinate someone, the other card, the Shinobi Discourage Pursuit, is a little more reliable, right? If you're playing Aramoro
Yeah, I
to
think
kill
so.
guys. I don't know. I mean, it's a strong effect, right? If there
Doesn't
is a big
require
difference.
Shinobi, right?
And yeah, like a lot of games you get into... No, it doesn't. And a lot of games you get into a bid 5 rhythm with your opponent, and you can just... I've got 2 of these in my hand. This turn, I'm going to crush this turn. I bid 1, flip the honor, and then start handing out huge skill
It
penalties.
also means that when often you'll trade bonsais,
Yeah.
you can now reliably, instead of having a 1 in 3 out of 40 to draw bonsai, you now have 6 because 3 of them can negate the bonsai.
Two of them are in quotes reliable.
And can I just say, massing at Twilight, hello,
Oh my
-4,
God.
-4.
My favorite province.
If Dragon didn't have like 3 3s for 3, that province could actually
Yeah.
have potential.
I like to counterpoint the enjoyment of coin tosses. This is an Australian podcast, and 2 Up is the national Australian gambling game.
Yeah, do you guys hate your heritage, you two? I fucking love Maze of Illusion.
Really? Honestly?
Yeah.
He says saying yes and not shaking his
Dude,
head.
it's in my Discord display picture. It's my face with a big grin with the maze art behind it.
Yeah, I can't wait you come back from Worlds telling a bad beat story how you're in the semis cut
Dude, I'm a degenerate. I love it.
and you're 1 province away from winning and you get like triple mazed and lose all of them and then just lose the game and go on tilt and quit forever.
I think.
Well, you know what? That'll probably happen, and I won't eat crow because I never eat crow. I just pretend I never said it and move on.
runner, maze.
Maze.
You'll still buy the exciting new product coming and announced next week.
Oh, the new exciting product.
What sleeves? Are we talking about province sleeves or?
Something a bit more exciting than that. I
Can we
believe.
reflect on those sleeves that they announced?
I think we already covered it, right? I said it really makes some dynamic and obvious things a bit more complicated, because I think Merlin wanted to put the conflict deck.
Oh, dude, you can basically do that.
Play swapsies and just bamboozle people.
But then you will get a judge called to your table every 5 minutes because you'll go to draw a card from the basic side. They'll be so confused.
So you show up to Worlds with one of those 2-player mats and you just place it over your opponent's mat. You play with the core set cardboard tokens and you got the sleeves on the wrong way.
That would be as offensive as possible. And don't bathe for 3 days before you sit down. So you're just like... You dialed it up to 11 on every front.
If you really want...
Just say you're cosplaying, like a street waif.
And also make sure, bring a piece of paper that says, I've taken a vow of silence. So, and that you can only speak, and you've got like text-olay, so you have type in text, and then it will, on a little computer screen, and it has that shitty robot voice.
Mate, they're going to love us in Minnesota.
I bid 5.
So what you could do is go to the bathroom when time starts. So you'll add 5 minutes at the start of a round to go to the bathroom, right? So you go for 5 minutes.
What? At the start? After the clock is
you've got 5 minutes to be at your table.
That's not true.
Iron Man 5.
It's true.
Iron Man
Get
style.
out of here.
When I went to the bathroom in San Francisco, they
if you're-
paused our individual clock and gave us an extension equal to the time one of us was
Was
away.
this Cascade or FFG running?
Cascade.
Yeah, I wouldn't... look, FFG is great.
So we're all playing Lion Rush,
it's
yes? We
in
can
the
just win.
rules, you can waste 5 minutes of the actual allotted game time
to go to the
in the bathroom.
Yeah. So if you're against Crab or Dragon, you hurt their chances. I don't advocate that. I'm just saying that there's weird rules that make it really unfair, because I really think, like you're saying with the individual clocks, having chess clocks would just solve every issue.
No,
Yeah.
Because then
Absolutely.
I think it's impossible practically, though, in a live game.
Why not?
In a live game.
Why?
Man,
I guess they do it
you'd
in
have
chess,
to press
right?
the button 1,000 times in a match.
Because there's
Pass,
so many
pass,
times
pass,
when
pass.
it goes to different focus.
Yeah.
It's really, really
I think
hard.
it's just totally out.
Didn't we already try this with
I
chess
tried
clocks
it with
on
Yeah,
Jay.
you guys
We had
tried
the
it. It was
clock.
terrible.
Well, I was concentrating far more on making sure I
Winning the
pressed the
clock.
button in time than I did. I couldn't think about the game because I was thinking about this
But
chess
you
thing.
don't have to rush to say pass. It's just if you choose to think for that long after each decision, you should get punished because you're eating up so much of the other player's time.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree with the principle. I think in practice it's very
I
difficult.
was speaking to Vasilis, Bill Kirill's army, about this problem.
Yeah.
And he's a former Yu-Gi-Oh judge. And he says he reckons he disqualifies about half the players in his tournaments. And he once threatened a dude with a katana. So I'm all for the more active judging approach. Just get on the case. If someone's trying to slow roll you, call someone over. That's how Anil judged it in San Francisco. It worked really well, where if you ever felt like the game was, something was happening or they were taking too long, I think active judging fixes that better more practically anyway, than a chess clock.
That's why you run things like Wayne. As I said, you got to put it into the cards.
Oh, yeah,
system.
Wayne
You're going to play the stall.
3 monos,
Stall.
3 consumes, just reset every turn, slow it down.
Just all debuffs, no buffs.
It's a Scorpion
We
deck
all,
for sure.
we all laugh this week. In 1 year's time, I don't know. We might all be crying a bit.
Dude, to be honest, if I could win reliably by tiebreak, that would be my preferred method of victory. I would love to do that.
Do we, yeah, all right. So I think we've spent enough time on the cards there. Do we want to move on to some listener questions? It's that time of the night.
Everyone's favourite
How
segment.
much influence was that card? Sorry, the last card.
2.
Does that count
Make
as
an
a
opening
And
is
it's
2,
not,
yeah.
it's not roll locked. It's not elemental locked.
No roll locking.
That's
Have you
beautiful.
guys noticed that?
Yeah,
Are
it's
there any
great.
roll lock stuff in the score pack? I don't think there
I
is.
think in the clan packs. Oh, there was the Karmis.
Yeah.
Keeper and Seeker.
Oh yeah, that's. I think keeper only or seeker only. I am fine with personally.
So interesting. Stolen Secrets is 3 influence.
That makes me think in playtest.
Combo stuff.
They've been thinking about it.
Yeah. And Collector is 1, which is great.
Yep.
Like imagine if you could pull your opponent's talisman and you play it and they can't play theirs.
Yeah, there you go.
It's why it's 3. I think It's because of the variance of like you can look at the 4 and pull the 4 best cards in the deck, and then actively pick the one that gives you the best advantage. Or you could pull like things that require like a shinobi or like just some sort of set of cards that don't enable anything reliable for you.
This card is also so much better if you're locked in 1 bids, because then you get to decide their next 4 turns, excluding ancillary card draw of their hand, which is pretty hot. Or 3 turns, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, so you put the other 4 cards back in
your order.
Yeah, right.
And you don't have to show them any of them. You don't show them the one you choose.
We're figuring this card out as we go through this podcast.
Yeah.
I still think it's shit. Never play it. 1 out of 5.
It's a huge cost.
I reckon I'd play Judy. I put Judy in there every time.
Oh yeah, still their duty. Play 2 duties in a game.
All right, so we got a bunch of questions, so thanks everybody that submitted questions. I'm probably going to skip ones that we feel like we've already answered.
Just take the best 3, hey?
The best of the
best
of the lot. So we have been talking a lot about attachment hate.
Here in quality control, we've upped the ante. The questions now need to be L5R related. And they should be directed towards any element of L5R.
But don't worry, listeners. We're not changing brands. We're still brand identity. We're still very lo-fi. Okay, mild editing, mild question filter.
No Star Wars Destiny questions.
No more marriage propositions for Ben.
That too.
Take it.
I'm taking.
Sorry,
All right.
Marvin.
Got a wife.
So we have just briefly touched on the topic, but I think maybe it's worth a little bit more serious discussion. What with the conflict deck nonsense that Scorpion has Dishonor Mill become something realistic or still delicious jank?
No,
Dishonor Mill.
It's
So
jank.
I think the question is, can you pressure the opponent's hand in the same way that you pressure provinces or honor and things like that?
Milling is exactly like as if you didn't draw the card. So, like, in a way, the best is that you mill their best cards. The worst case is that you filter their deck for their best cards, because there's not enough effects in the game that reliably let you.
Because you're discarding.
It's even worse than that,
worst
right?
cards.
Because you've got like Mitsu, that completely unnecessarily, ridiculously powerful dragon card they printed. Like if you're milling a dragon deck, you're putting Void Fists in their discard pile for them to play from their discard pile.
What is actually in the mill toolkit right now? It's the Heartless Intimidator. Is that about it? Are there any other?
Oracle of Stone-ish.
So if
Yeah,
you get all 3 Intimidators out, you actually can
It's a
get
lot.
a lot.
A lot.
You can get
Okay,
through the
so-
deck quite fast.
so here's my question.
Realistically, you're going to get 2, and even with 2 up, it's just pretty scary.
Often the reality is that you get them down to like 6 honor, and then they shuffle back through, right?
Yeah.
But like you've lost it at that point. They're on your box because you've been focusing all your cards on.
Just need one
on
back.
something
Yeah,
that's not related
so
to
the
game.
goal is to get the deck to recycle, so they get a 5 honor hit and it accelerates your dishonor, right? But the only way that's going to happen in a real game against a thinking opponent is if you've been locked in 5 bids for a few turns in a row, because you're just never going to mill a whole deck. And in that case, like if your whole deck is trying to dishonor and they're able to bid 5 turns in a row, you've already lost. The game's over. So I think you're better off just focusing on, if you want to dishonor your opponent, that's all well and good, but the mill thing is just a bit of flavor right now.
It's interesting, like, because against good players, sure, but like Watch Commander Heartless Intimidator is actually like a legitimate
the
thing.
way to play it is with Crab Splash, and you reprieve your Heartless Intimidator to keep around on the turn with the Watch Commander on her, and all of a sudden it gets a bit scary. But ultimately, it's a dishonor strat, so they flip a Sami or a Bonsai Garden or whatever, the whole thing goes into the toilet.
And
All right, well,
I think Ben covered it too with the recursion. There's 2 decks now that have recursion.
Yeah.
So
Let's segue into the next question. Chris Carlisle just started to listen recently. Thanks, man. Love the show. Thanks, man. You guys are hilarious. Thanks, man.
I'll take those directed at me, so thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
I'm looking to try and build a new Scorpion deck as a kill deck. Do you think that might be a viable archetype with the clan pack coming up?
it's already viable, mate. What are you talking about?
You already got one?
Wicked Tetsubo, baby.
Tetsubo on Bayoshi Shouju with the card that with the seal of the crab, so you make Shouju a berserker.
Wasn't there a
So then the character's 0 until the end of the conflict, and Shouju just auto kills.
I'm sure that there's like one listener who loves these crazy things Glenn comes up with.
I'm sure.
That guy's
I'm
a
sure it's me
genius.
on playback.
But you could make Aramoro, right? Like make him a.
So what's his
Make him a
ability?
berserker.
For people like me,
Silver crab.
what's his ability? Because I haven't looked at him.
It's like 5/4. He's kind of like a reverse shoju. It's like
military. So if they
military, yeah.
if they hit zero
He
military,
dishonors himself to do
He
it.
dishonors
right?
himself to make them -2, and they die if they're 0.
If
And
there's zero
once
force, they
per
die.
turn, not twice.
Yeah, once per turn. But it's -2 at once.
Yeah.
So he's full military.
So coupled with like discouraged pursuit,
He's
he
good.
gets pretty potent.
But with
pretty
a
quick.
wicked Tetsuba, if he joins the Berserker crew, he can just auto kill.
I think
Well-
there's
And
there's
if you've read the latest fiction, like that
he
guy's not
does seem
far
a
off.
little bit of a berserker, right?
He's just angry.
Like
Like
he's mad that he
I'd
lost
be
the
furious
the-
too if my wife was like in the firing line.
He's also mad that he lost to Toturi in the Emerald Championship.
Oh,
Loser.
just-
Big
just-
loser.
yeah,
Scorpion
he's-
loser guy.
and Yujiro, like you know what? I don't respect Biishi Yujiro in this
No?
iteration.
You're not a fan?
I was a huge Yujiro fan, but Yujiro is just like jeering at him, teasing him.
So in the fiction, is Asami like sculpted to look like Kachiko? Like she's her body double, right?
Yeah,
And
she looks almost
Aramoro is Kachiko's Yojimbo,
Yep.
but Asami is pretending to be Kachiko.
Yeah.
So he's sleeping with a woman who looks like another woman.
But get this, it's even more twisted. So Bayushi Aramoro, he's got a brother that's named Bayushi Shoju. And Bayushi Shoju is married to Kachiko.
Oh, hang on, they're brothers.
Yeah.
So he's boning a woman who looks like his brother's wife, but is actually his wife.
wait.
But he's sworn to protect his brother's wife, and his own wife can just—it's her job
But
to die
it
for
gets
his
better.
brother's wife.
It gets even better. Because Aramoro, prior to Shoju getting married, Aramoro was in love with Kachiko. And he was pissed when Shoju got to marry her.
Sounds like a bit of a Robert De Niro King of Comedy.
So now
It's
situation.
just like a love.
So
it's
now,
like a love.
so now
octagon.
he is, to be clear, now he is banging someone. He is married to somebody who looks like the woman that he loves, which is Boishi Kachiko.
Yeah, but that's pretty. That's kind of
It's
messed up.
super messed up. It's like Days of Our Lives. Like
I was
Guys,
just
four-dimensional
thinking. I was
triangle.
just thinking of all the other ways to kill people.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about the cards
I was
too.
I was like, Mark of Shane. I can swim.
Yep.
Those are things that are viable.
Noble sacrifice.
Noble sack. The Beniniona, the province. That's a kill condition. I was thinking also that there's also these cards coming on the clan pack that also give you, like that one we just discussed before, that give you negative stat. So there's a lot more potential to keep, negatively setting someone. Something that I kept running, what is it, Tainted Koku?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
neg one,
yeah,
neg
it's
one.
fun. It's a fun
Right,
card.
so yeah, I used to use Shoju to kill someone and then move all the negs. I think
Yeah,
it was
off
against
that
you,
guy
Ben. And
onto
then
another
I killed like 3 characters all in a row. I can swim into then triggering Shoju's ability that I'd already put onto someone because the Tainted Kokus went onto the character.
Yeah, that's
right.
hot.
And then went on to the 3rd character and then I assassinated them or something.
Do you think they'll ever bring in like a burn effect, like in Thrones, where if you reach, there was that plot in Thrones that gave you -1 across the board,
Ooh.
and I think the
Winter-
default position,
Winter,
that's the one.
Yeah,
And the default position in Thrones was if you ever reached 0, you just died.
like if the
You have
card
to have a
effect,
tonal effect.
the card
card,
effects
yeah.
will say if your strength is reduced to 0, the character
Yeah,
dies.
I think that plot
And
had
so
the
when you
condition,
set them to 0,
But that
They
was
can't
built
ever
into
get
that
past.
plot,
I
right?
think it was
Winter,
built into that plot.
like
That plot was
it
absolutely
gave everything -1, and if they reached 0, they just died.
Targaryen now have like 4 cards that do that. So there's one that's like -4, and they die if they hit 0.
I'm actually
yeah,
And then-
Dracarys,
Yeah,
right?
and then Danny has the ability that each time you play an event, you -1, so you can like get a 7.
I swear to our listeners, rollers out there, we are sticking with L5R despite this talk of vetoes in Game of Thrones.
It's because FFG like to recycle things throughout the
Ideas.
game.
Yeah.
They have the same name and there's
Iron Mine
constantly
is
the
the exact
name.
same text.
Yeah.
The Great
But
Iron
Iron Mine's a nice throwback as well.
Yes, yeah, for old Fiverr. Just to answer that question quickly, I actually have brought a deck tonight that's got a lot of kill effects, so I'm testing that out. I think it's really good as a sub theme and not the main part of your deck. So I would try and play with like a little suite of it, because those cards are good in and of themselves. Like Sinister Soshi's a good card. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible, and I wouldn't go all in that direction, but I would definitely try it out, and I'm excited for that to come through.
I mean, the
Don't go
real
the
problem is at the moment for any kill effect or kill focus deck is Dragon, right? because they're running reprieves and they're running Finger of Jade. So unless you've realistically got a way to get around those attachments, then you're spending a lot of effort for
Good
nothing.
thing with Shoju and now Discourage Pursuit and this new card, right? Is we showed you it doesn't matter if
They're
they've got
persistent
reprieve.
effects.
It's
Yeah.
persistent effects.
Yeah.
So
Which is like Targaryen Burn.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool.
Well, it's the Finger of Jade that stops it there because the Finger of Jade stops
You
the
prevent
Shoju.
the action.
Yeah,
And
you
it
prevent
seems
the
like
Shoju.
we've got a few extra tools to deal with that Finger of Jade as of.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
new
Fancy
courtier.
courtier.
Hubba
All
hubba.
right, what's our last one?
Well, it's a nice segue. Actually, I reckon we should do two more.
Two more.
It's a
All right,
good
Merlin.
one.
Two more.
So, how much attachment hate or event cancel is too much in a deck? I reckon that is going to come up a bunch of
I don't
times tonight.
understand this question.
have you ran the 9 card?
Well, Jay can talk about this because you played a lot of 9 cancel Crane around core and first arc with the Scorp splash when Censure first
I mean
came
that
out.
was a really long time ago though.
Yeah.
I mean it was good out of core, but I haven't done it since, so I really couldn't say.
I feel like
There is a cost
you could-
eventually to not playing proactive effects for your own win condition and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the fact that Crab won half the Kotais without event control says that your deck doesn't have to have it to do well. It's probably changed now.
I think
maybe.
attachment control is definitely
Do
becoming
you think
more
we
and
would
more
play the
important.
game differently if we went back and played like triple core again?
Just like vanilla WoW.
Yeah,
Like,
just like
reset it back
I'd
to
be
core.
going first and buying Lions Pride Brawler with no fate, just like the old days, baby.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to consider there is if there's actually a lot of attachment control. Like Dragon could theoretically run Let Go, Calling in Favors, and Mere Mystics, but they don't because they don't need to. Like 3 Let Goes is sufficient enough to be able to control the key attachments from an opponent's deck. And also, because of all the attachment call already, no one's running the big 2 cost or 3 cost attachments, which is sad because like they have really cool, potent effects.
I think a good answer to this question is in the rise and fall of Censure in a lot of decks, and how nowadays even clans like Phoenix that can reliably acquire the favor have sort of ditched Censure in favor of stuff like Finger of Jade for the most part. Is a good way to look at this question. I think that event cancel. There are other ways to deal with events, like Glenn was saying. Attachments. If a cloud sticks on your big guy, you are hosed. So I think also another example of this is Mere Mystic was derided for the first 6 months to 8 months of the game. Nobody played it, and you were laughed at if you played it.
Now he's ubiquitous.
And now you have to play him. If you don't play him, how do you deal with attachments?
If you don't splash Dragon or
If you don't-
Scorpion, you have to.
Well, even if you do,
you're probably doing both,
Yeah.
right?
I think
absolutely are.
Anil argued that in Dragon you do still because it gives you the advantage in the mirror if they don't.
Yep.
yeah, attachments really are the key card type right now. We'll see if it changes, but yeah, I would definitely max that out in your decks. And event cancel, if you have some problem events that screw up your strategy, then maybe it's time to increase that.
Could we just explore that just briefly? Why is it that attachments are the strongest right now? Is it because people have worked out and solved that keeping your characters around for more turns gives you like more value?
Yeah, for every
So-
turn that character is in play with the attachment on it, you're getting extra value out of it.
So yeah.
It's
So
like
I
the
think
old
that,
school crab.
isn't that just the
like,
perfect argument for why reprieve is something that just
Reprieve needs to go.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it up with this one. I love this question, actually. What in-game habit do you wish you could break? For example, I find it harder to stop myself from overextending when I play Unicorn than I do when I play Phoenix, especially on turn 1.
Who asked that
It
question?
would be going on furious tilt whenever Kanjo District gets flipped up. I just get irrationally
You have a
angry,
list of
man.
things that you go on to
No, man, like,
for.
even before, when we had that game before, like, I've been waiting to come here all week. I had a bourbon. I was all happy, and you flipped Kanjo.
Kanjo District.
You flipped Kanjo on a broken province, so it was gone next turn, and I still became enraged by it.
And Merlin's a nice guy. And a
He
good
is.
opponent.
I'm in his house.
I feel bad playing it, and you
Did you
feel
get-
bad having it played
Did
against
you get PTSD from when Ben flipped Hidden Moon Dojo and Imperial Palace
On the first turn.
Well, he just conceded. So
There's
there's no best in
I
the
conceded immediately.
I was so excited.
That was
to
the
have
first
card.
time you had seen that card ever. It was like brand new.
Yeah.
You busted it out of your pack, you put it in a slip, you flopped it, and I conceded.
knowing Benny probably had 3 of each in the deck.
This is actually a really good
Simcoe
question, though.
game.
So,
So who asked the question?
Yeah.
A fellow by the name of Greg. I can't pronounce his last name.
shout out to Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Greg P.
Thanks, man.
Greggy P.
Well, we all have habits, and some of them are like subconscious, I think. I'm trying to think of what I do that I wish.
I got to stop picking my nose. That's probably my worst habit.
No, tournament play that gives you an edge, man.
Yeah. Well, I think if you put booger on someone else's card, you can put him on tilt.
I think
That's fair.
Ben's bad habit is in the deck building process.
Putting in charge of Pathfinders. That's a great habit.
He just gets
That's a game-winning
He
strategy.
gets really excited by the card combos. He's like, "Whoa! I've discovered this new combo, guys."
The ultimate irony for Ben is that our only win for the Australians in the World Cup was a game he won by DQ. Well, that was great.
Really?
Yeah. Someone
Jesus,
played a
you
card
guys
that wasn't
got-
on their list.
You- you-
Oh, no,
Oh,
NZ won a
Jay,
game.
Did you miss,
NZ,
did you
did
miss
win a
that
game,
game?
yeah.
I got told the story about the DQ, which is a great story,
it's- you
but
can
I didn't
listen to
realize
it
you guys
pre-
We've got it.
so
We've got it on
thoroughly
video.
pantsed.
We got thrashed.
I got beaten a mirror, beat
You were
by a
playing
unicorn.
Dragon, right?
Yeah, and then I didn't play my third game. I didn't play it. So,
We,
but my quick answer to this is sometimes when my opponent's taking a long time, I get like micro tilt and start getting distracted and thinking about other things, and it definitely hurts my performance. So I just need to be a little bit more patient. And sometimes you don't need to be patient, you need to call a judge. But I think in a live event when there's high stakes, you don't feel that way. Like you're just continuously focused. But when you're at home playing on Jigoku, it's easy to slip into like a sort of passive mindset, and then you're thinking about other things. And that definitely throws my game off. So that's one thing I need to fix.
I think mine's just like, we can flash back to the final of Kotai where Ben just fate worse than death me, and my face just dropped, and I just was very, very telegraphed that my hand had no solution, no answer.
You won. You got there.
But it's just I'm very aware that like I don't have a poker face. Because I don't treat these games as poker. I'm very much like I don't have, like, it's much more binary for me where it's like I don't have the answer.
You just need
Like
to more believe in yourself, man. We all believed in you before that Kotai.
After I went 05,
The little crab.
Yeah, I
Good.
still believed in you.
hard the cards, bro. Hard the
That's
cards.
it. Watch some
So
more
that's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
So my habit would be, I guess, in reflection, that was a really good question, to just be a bit more netrunner-ish and not let people know that I'm flooded with agendas.
Right, you, Merlin, you got a bad habit?
I'm kind of like Bert. I kind of get into this weird head, like circular thought process where you're just thinking, what about this? What about that? What about this? What's the best choice? And then eventually you kind of, what's the difference between these choices? It turns out there's actually no difference. So just fucking pick one. Yeah. So I get
with your gut most
I get
of the time.
that. Yeah,
All right. Well, that was the last question, right?
certainly was.
That was a great question. Thank you.
So I think just before we wrap, I was thinking instead of final thoughts, which seems to produce nothing every time we ask around the table, is this idea of what was something that happened to you this week, whether it's what you saw or a board game you played, but just something that you went, that's Mintox. Like, what was one cool thing?
The Mintox
The-
factor.
yeah, the
I
I think
know
it
what
was when
Mintox
Ben
means.
said
Mintox is
that's Mintox.
it's a Western Australian thing. It's kind of like
I abstain from this question. No, go on.
it's kind of like radical. Like
Oh, okay.
it was a real 80s thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It was
would
like
have to.
mint was good. Like
Yeah.
you saw something
like
great, you would
swell
say,
or-
"Oh man, that's mint."
But then you
But if it
shortened it
was
to
super
Mintox.
good, it would be Mintox.
Yeah.
That was like the next level. of mint.
So for me, my one Mintox thing, and we'll go around the table. I'm just giving people a chance to actually think about it because I didn't tell them that we were going to do this.
Lo-fi shit, right?
Yeah, and this is great for gamers. There's a documentary that hit Netflix last week. It's called AlphaGo, and it's about the Google DeepMind, this AI team, some AI company that Google acquired, and they've developed this machine learning algorithm to get really good at Go, and it shows these players, these champion players from around the world, pit their skills against this machine learning, and Go is one of the most complicated board games out there, and it's known to be something that's creative and beautiful, and it's one of the 4 ancient arts of ancient China.
It's like a national sport. There's like
Yeah.
100 million people watched that match.
Yeah.
So
So you
80 million people watched.
So you
the
get to
first
see
match.
you get to see a professional 9 down, which is the absolute top rank player, face off against DeepMind. And I will tell you,
It was
watch it.
Mintox.
It was Mintox.
It was Mintox. It's great.
I'll go. Totally unrelated to gaming.
Yeah.
I recently got into podcasts a bit, and one of the ones, I'm probably pretty late, and a lot of the listeners will know this one, but I really enjoyed Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Oh, yeah.
And listening to one where he goes into the Caesar's genocide of ancient Gaul. It's like, it goes for like 5 hours, but I couldn't stop listening once I started. It was fucking phenomenal.
So the Romans invaded?
Yeah, Caesar just
Yeah, he was
annihilated. It was like it was on par with the scale of the World War II thing.
And to be clear,
it was more economical than that, but
to be clear, as Hidden City Roller podcast, we do not officially endorse the ethnic cleansing of Gauls.
no, hug a
fond of
Gaul
Gauls.
tomorrow, please, on my behalf.
Hug a Gaul.
Did they go into the battle he fought with the walls? Where Caesar built a wall around his army that was trying to break into a wall?
Yeah,
city?
that was basically the
Unbelievable,
final pivotal battle.
Yeah. Like 100,000
the place was
Gauls
called
fighting.
Alesia.
Yeah.
And he built a fortification around this place because he was sieging it that went all the way around, like 100 miles around. And then he realized that they had a reserve army coming to attack him. So he built a wall around the backside of his army. So his army was between two walls. It was fucking crazy.
So they were attacking a walled city and defending the wall that they had built around their army. It's
amazing.
Berserk.
Yeah, go listen to that. That's fucking grouse.
All right. Well, back on the L5R front, I can't remember whether I mentioned it last time or not, but there was a World Cup game. I think it was Lion versus Crane that I cast with a bunch of the Aussies here at the end of the group stage, which was really good. I think people should go check it out because it is a really interesting Lion deck, and it got really tense towards the end. I won't spoil the ending for anybody that does want to go watch.
We'll put the linky in the description.
Yeah, all I can say is fuck yeah, you're a Tomo.
Oh, I love it.
I probably have the most 80s thing to talk about. The Transformers card game came out.
So good.
It's fast, and I think there's more depth than what people will give it.
Who produced it?
Wizards of the Coast.
Okay.
So the only warning I have there is that they don't support a game that's not called Magic. So it's going to be hard. But you get giant Transformer cards.
Oh, wicked.
And all the art is from the 80s.
Can I play
80s and
Starscream?
90s. You can play the Planes deck with Starscream as the combo enabler.
Glenn, will it change my life?
I think it will. It's definitely, it's light and fun and it's fast, and you play a game in 15 minutes.
Is it a
genuinely-
CCG, LCG?
Yeah, it's a CCG.
fuck that shit.
That's the
No
only.
way.
That's the only issue.
Can I play it for
Autobots
free
roll out.
online and never have to pay for a card? Actually,
No,
I'm not
but
going to do it, but it sounds cool.
You can be like, Glenn, let's give it a try. I'll bring my stuff.
Yeah,
so you
cool.
can do there's Dinobots and there's
Meet
Insecticons.
It's a CCG though. Forget about it. Who plays
I would
CCGs
rather play my
anymore?
dead games that take 4.5 hours, personally.
Yeah. I like the idea though. If you're playing Transformers, the card game, if you're playing Dinobots, you must, and like you bring Grimlock out,
You speak in the third person.
me Grimlock.
Ben plays ferocious roar.
Tap this Energon cube.
Anyway, I only know one other person in Melbourne playing it, so hit me up if you want to.
Hey, how many games are you playing at the moment, Glenn?
Too many.
I think I'm at 8.
You're studying to be a doctor, right?
You're starting to be a world champion at 8 games, I think.
I'm looking forward to going. Oh, the other exciting thing is Netrunner Nationals is next week here in Australia. Before Wizards of the Coast takes the license back in about 2 weeks.
All right.
And game shuts down.
Yeah,
right?
so
very
so that's exciting. too.
R.I.P.
I'm going to go 3-0 with my Corp deck and 0-3 with my Runner deck because my win rate online is that. It's I win with Corp and lose with Runner.
Come on, Jay.
Anything from you, Jay?
Mintox, we're playing a board game at the moment called Charterstone, which is made by Jamie Stagmeyer, who's the dude who did Scythe, if anyone out there plays Scythe.
Is it Stonemeyer Games? That's
Yeah,
it's on. Yeah.
Stonemeyer, sorry, not Stagmeyer. It's a legacy game. It's really fun, engine buildery, kind of Euro style, but if that's your jam, it is definitely Mintox.
And it's gateway as well, so you can play. You can absolutely play it with people who are a little bit more casual. You don't have to be a heavy, hardcore game at a play.
Yeah, we're playing with a couple of casual board gamers and they're really having fun. Like one of our players, I think he's like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And he's actually owning us. He's figured out some combo which seems off curve. Seems a little bit off curve.
You can see the blood start to boil in his neck.
I actually Googled it while we were playing to see if this is an acknowledged broken combo.
He was getting very salty at somebody who's like
He's
a
13
quarter
years
of
old.
your age.
There's a thing with Jay that he plays his children at card games.
I don't mind it if I win.
All right. Well, thank you, rollers, for tuning in. And until next week, we've been people that have been podcasting to you.
Let's go play some cards.